This is Easter week, day 4, Wednesday. No record. I love that. No record. Everything you see within the word, as with life itself, is there for a reason, and the empty spaces between the words are as significant as the words themselves, maybe more so. The empty spaces allow for imagination, creativity, mystery. And we have no record of how Jesus spent this day. He was the ultimate free man. He was able to work himself and everyone else to the bone on one day and to be idle and carefree on the next. He didn't need to unwind because he was never wound up with anxiety. You see, Jesus was a child, first and foremost. He was God's dear son and he knew it. His confrontation with the temple money changers on Monday was his declaration of war, if you like, not against people, heaven forbid, but against the artificial strictures of religion that had come to enslave and burden the people. Come unto me, all ye that labour and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you shall find rest for your souls. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. He had declared war against our enemies because he came to give us life, and life in all its fullness as God intended. The pause on this day was, I suggest, more for his antagonists than for him. He gave them time to digest what he had said and done. It was grace. And here we have our meditation for today. Grace, kindness, love. The King of love my shepherd is, his goodness faileth never. I think of him on this day, in and around the beloved home of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus in Bethany, all of whom had received priceless blessings, even life itself in the case of Lazarus, or Eliezer, whose very name means God is my helper. Did you know the fiercest fighter, Jesus, before whom enemies fled in confusion, was and is the sweetest company in the world? He is. This day is a day of grace, a harbour of serenity before the gathering storm. It's a day for us to think of his grace. Warfare and contention was his strange work, but grace was his normal work. God is love, but adopts wrath when necessary. His wrath lasts but for a moment, but his grace for eternity. We have countless examples of Jesus' kindness, but let's restrict ourselves to Easter week. Cast your mind back to Sunday, when Jesus instructed his disciples to go and collect the foal of a donkey in the nearby village, and he specified that they were to bring both the foal and its mother. Both. You see, mindful of the feelings of an animal, a mere donkey, an ass. Now, I know that people may say that it was because the foal wouldn't have come without its mother, but Jesus could have easily overruled that. No, Jesus was thoughtful for everything. The King of love my shepherd is, his goodness faileth never. Recall that his father had said about sinful Nineveh, should I not spare Nineveh with tens of thousands of people and much cattle? And much cattle. Who said that the God of the Old Testament was wrathful and the God of the New Testament was loving? He is one and the same, and Jesus is his true son. He once said that he only did that which he had seen his Father doing and spoke the words that he had heard in his Father's presence. Jesus was and is kind and thoughtful, the image of his Father. And there's something more in this Easter week. It's so easily missed. Read with care the incident we looked at on Monday, the cleansing of the temple of merchants and money changers. Let the text speak. Jesus entered into the temple of God and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold the doves. Matthew 21, verse 12. The money changers sat at their tables and trestles, with towers of coins arranged neatly before them. They exchanged the Roman coins with images of Caesar on them for temple coinage, empty of any graven image, as only these coins could be used for temple offering. And there was the inevitable fee for the exchange. It was a profitable business run by the house of Annas, the man who would have Jesus mistreated in 2 days' time. Revenge for Jesus having upended all the tables, scattering the coins over the stone paving. Then Jesus came to those who sat at tables with wooden cages containing doves to be sold for temple offerings. In his anger, he overthrew not the tables this time, but the seats of the merchants. Again, others may explain this differently, but is it too fanciful to interpret this detail as another example of Jesus' love and gentleness, even toward animals and birds? He wouldn't unnecessarily send the harmless birds into a terror by overturning the tables, so he overturned the seats instead. Now you may smile, but we may be in for a surprise when we finally meet the King of Love. In love, you see, God has given everything a voice, from birds and beasts to rocks and stars, and Jesus, through whom all things were created, understands their voices. The real marvel is that he understands the voice of sinners. He himself never sinned, yet he understands the voice of us sinners. Let me finish with a reference to gold. Gold is called a noble element. It's called that because nothing can corrupt it. Put it at the bottom of the ocean for 1,000 years, and when it is retrieved, it glisters as though new. Jesus was subject to the most cruel treatment of evil men. He was slandered and misrepresented, cursed and threatened. Tradition tells us that even the legitimacy of his birth was openly questioned. He was forsaken by his closest friends, one of them even denying that he knew him, and one of his chosen friends betrayed him for money. In spite of all this and much, much more, he never became bitter or resentful. You see, Jesus was and is gold, noble